Dydd Goyle, Dewi Hapus. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chip Over the Top Rugby podcast. My name is Ryan. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. That was Happy St. David's Day, because if you are watching this tomorrow, aka March 1st, this is being filmed on the 29th here of February in the US. So by the time you see this, probably tomorrow will be St. David's Day. So happy St. David's Day. If you are Welsh, if you are not, it's all good. You can still be a part of the celebrations of being a Welsh fan. All you have to really do, Welsh cakes, there's a recipe. I'll put a recipe down below actually, that if you want to make Welsh cakes, feel free, do so, be my guest. And secondly, feel free to wear red or something red. You can even get a daffodil. I carry daffodils around with me all the time. They're on my wrist. You can get a leek. That is a symbol of sort of Welsh. And if you're a female, you can wear, or you male if you want, you can wear a Welsh traditional costume right here. So, Wales v Ireland. I have wanted to upload this video for the past few days. If you didn't know, so last week, I went back to Wales. I did upload a video. I uploaded a podcast where I filmed from the Cardiff Arms Park, just highlighting sort of the Welsh team that was picked. And I really wanted to get a video up whilst I was in Dublin, because if you didn't know, I went home for a funeral. Obviously not the best reason to go back to Wales, but I maximized my time and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I sort of made the most of it. And I got invited to go and watch Wales v Ireland in Dublin, and it was absolutely incredible. Did a few bits and pieces for the Six Nations on their social media. I'll post that below as well. So the Welsh guy in America, but I'm currently in Dublin for the game Wales v Ireland, and I couldn't come to Dublin without, of course, having a Guinness. Today, I predict in my head Ireland's going to win, but in my heart, Wales are going to win by 5. You heard it here first. Let me know what your predictions are. Diolch yn fawr. Go check that out if you haven't already. And throughout this, I'm going to just upload clips and footage and pictures of my time in Dublin. So without further ado, like I said, I wanted to upload this video a long time ago, but traveling and just sort of being a bit under the weather as soon as I got back, because last Friday till Sunday was just a blur. I had the funeral on Friday morning. Don't worry, we'll get into the video in a second, but I want to give you a little bit of backstory, because why not? It's a podcast right at the end of the day. I had the funeral on Friday morning, and so obviously that was sad and whatnot. And then, you know, spent the rest of the morning with family, and then I had a tattoo booked in for Friday afternoon. I just added a bit of like a castle to sort of my sleeve. Obviously Welsh castles, there's plethora of them, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to do so. And then, Saturday, flew out from Cardiff Airport, landed in Dublin at like 9 a.m. From there, went to the Guinness Storehouse. Obviously you're seeing it now as I'm talking about it, but yeah, I went to the Guinness Storehouse, which was absolutely incredible. I've never been, obviously, to Ireland before, so I wanted to sort of do some touristy things as well. Had a Guinness at the top of the gravity bar, absolutely incredible. And then from there, me and my brother, I took my brother with me. We just waltzed down from the Guinness Storehouse to sort of the Aviva, stopped off by the Temple Bar for breakfast. Absolutely incredible. The atmosphere was buzzing and it was starting to build up a little bit. And then obviously made our way to the Aviva. And it's difficult to sort of put into a review almost unless it was immediately, which I knew it wasn't going to be able to, because I didn't want to. I wanted to enjoy the day after anyway. Went for some more food, went back to Dublin, like town centre, I suppose, and just enjoyed it, right? As you should, rightly so, despite the result. And like I said, I wanted to upload something straight away, but I didn't, so here we are right now. And then I thought, well, I'll wait a few days, because I really wanted to rewatch the game, and it's quite difficult. I don't know, let me know below if this is like you can't really, unless it's immediate, a recalling of events, because the emotions are sort of different. Your perspective as you're watching it live is different compared to sort of what the TV is showing. And we had fantastic seats. We were up high, which I prefer. I prefer being up high because you can see everything, right? But sometimes you can't really see what is being shown on the TV. And so Last night, in fact, I did a full review. I watched the entire game again from start to finish on TV and sort of tried to like think, oh, this is what it looked like on TV compared to what I was seeing, right? Because there were certain moments within that game where like there were clear and obvious things that I was seeing, there were clear and obvious things that I wasn't seeing, so I just wanted to marry them up and sort of get a full, complete picture. So without further ado, now that I've reviewed it, and obviously I was there live, experiencing it, the atmosphere, first and foremost, if you've never been to the Aviva Stadium, or if you've never been to Dublin, Ireland, it is absolutely incredible. I'd highly, highly recommend it being on your bucket list to go. Just going to a Six Nations game in general, right? The atmosphere is going to be incredible, and this game was incredible. I was almost going to swear, but I don't know if YouTube will allow it. But yeah, absolutely incredible. So, like I said, I did a full review, so let's dive in right now. Obviously, we know the result already, but I figured I'd wait a couple of days to do the review. So, I first and foremost want to say this. The scoreline, in my opinion, does not reflect how the game actually was, how it looked, and even whilst I reviewed it, watching it on TV last night, just how it looked. Because for the vast majority of that game, it was 17 points to 7 to Ireland. You could argue, whilst I was doing the review, there was a moment where Aaron Wainwright scored a try, right? It was on the line. Nothing got called, and they kept moving through the phases, and then it got called short. You take that, it would have been 17-14 because it was pretty much right in front of the posts. Then it's a different ball game. Then that scoreline does not reflect, right? Because obviously Ireland went away to win 31-7. But yeah, so let's just dive in. So early 10 minutes, I think it was fantastic. It was sort of like a tug of war. You were kind of finding each other sort of, where's the give and where's the get, right? Where's the give and go? Wales were just absolutely incredible at defence, but Ireland did have the vast majority of the possession. Wales were just chop tackles left, right and centre, absolutely just blitzing the Irish attack, just fast off the line, chop tackles, stopping them dead, and I think frustrating Ireland for the most part because Ireland really couldn't get a front foot. They got a few phases, but then Wales stopped it. And then moving on, there was a couple sort of Wales attacking opportunities. But however, there were, again, this has been the story throughout the entire Welsh Six Nations tournament thus far. One-up runners. And if you're going up against world-class players like, Porter and Bundy Aki, right, which is the two instances I'm referring to, when it got stopped by Bundy Aki, he went up, and Aki was over that ball like... There was no stopping him. He's like a back row player anyway, right? So he's class. He was over the ball. And then there was another instance where Andrew Porter turned over Wainwright. At the 10-minute mark, there was a driving more line out for Ireland, right? We saw that at the beginning. But Wales hold on. They get the scrum. However, the Welsh scrum was under the cosh throughout the entire game. Like, it was brutal to watch and to rewatch. So I can only imagine what it was like actually as a player in that scrum. It was intense. And hear me out here. I have never seen both scrums under 900 kilos before. It was pretty bizarre to me because usually you're thinking, hang on, most professional teams have a forward pack over 900 kilos. I've always seen that. Unless I'm seeing things and it's been under it before, I've always thought it's always over, right? But I guess I could be wrong, but that's probably the nature of the professional sport at the moment. It's becoming a lot more fluid. Players aren't really as big and as bulky as they were previously in the past few years, at least in some teams. But yeah, Ireland were under 900 kilos and so was Wales. So Welsh scrum under pressure leads to a silly penalty, off feet, Ireland line out. Welsh defensive effort, very good. Low and hard tackles, Welsh turnover on the 15-minute mark. But the Welsh, so Wales kick for a touch finder, right? But silly penalty. And this was the case throughout the entire game again. Silly penalty. Rafael wasn't committed to the line out. It was just a silly error. And that was an attacking opportunity wasted because then it was an Irish penalty. So it was a story throughout the entire game. We get into the 22, we don't really do much. We get a penalty, we get turned over. Irish ball speed. And I said, I made a video for the Six Nations, right? I said, if Ireland are going to win, Jameson Gibson Park needs to be on form and they need to get that ruck speed like fast. And they did. That ball speed coming out of the ruck to go to the next player was absolutely rapid. And they were running hard, causing Wales to be offside. But I will give it to Wales. Their defence was outstanding. Their work rate was incredible. But once again, at the 10-minute mark, Wales defended a driving maul line out very effectively. Obviously led to Welsh scrum. But it did lead to another Irish penalty. So we're on the 18th minute mark now, or roughly. Causes a penalty. Well, there's another scrum. Ireland win a penalty. Go for the line out. This time, driving maul is a success, because Bundy Aki and James Lowe and even Crowley gets in there. And of course, with the extra weight, you don't want to, in a driving maul situation like that, you don't want to overcommit, right? Because the last thing you want to do is just let them spread the ball out wide to Calvin Nash, who's on the wing. Let's try. So you don't want to overcommit, but if you don't overcommit, you're just going to get outgunned. You're going to get outweighed, and that's pretty much what happened. Driving maul leads to Sheehan's try. But in my opinion, it looked like the ball wasn't grounded, but hey-ho, that's just my opinion. Moving on, by the 22nd minute, and I've got notes, obviously, I've written all this down because as I was going through and reviewing, I was like, well, how am I going to remember all this? So I have to make notes. And you have to make notes for a podcast, especially a rugby one. By the 22nd minute, there were 7 penalties against Wales already. Unbelievable. So at that point, there was a sort of kick, and Josh Adams could have left it. It looked like it was going out. Whilst I was there in the stadium, it looked like it was going out. Whilst I was on TV, it looked like I was going out as well. But Josh Adams catches the ball in the air, leads to an Irish line-out. However, the Irish line-out wasn't performing, except the 2 driving mauls, it wasn't performing optimally. They did overthrow it, which did lead to a Welsh ball. However, it was a Welsh scrum because it was like a knock-on. But silly mistake. Again, another penalty, not feeding the ball straight. Irish penalty. There was a heroic defensive effort from Wales throughout then up until about the 30th minute, but eventually just the sheer speed of ball leads to James Lowe's try because they're just going from ruck to pass, and it's quick. And obviously you can pass the ball quicker than you can run from one ruck to another. And that's just simple, right? That is how you score. You just outbeat your opponent. You get quick ball, you get it out wide, you score a try. So therefore, at that point, 17-0, and it looks like it's going to be a rout. Unfortunately, does look like it's going to be a rout, and the scoreline sort of does make it appear that way, but really, in reality, like I said at the beginning, it's really not. Wales' defensive effort was outstanding, just very unfortunate on a few occasions, really, and that's all it comes down to, just capitalising on the errors, capitalising on the penalties, and converting errors into and penalties into points on the scoreboard, and Wales hadn't done that up until this point. There was, after the 30th minute, after the sort of James Lowe try, there was a good sort of, and I have this on video actually, so I'm going to show you it right now. There was a good little phase of play which led to an opportunity in Irish 22. They went for the line-out because at this point you need points, right? And 3 points, on the scoreboard at the end of the day, could have looked kind of nice at this point, but they go for the line out, and it leads to a Welsh penalty, and then there's a second line out, and they go again, but unfortunately just off feet over the ball, and it's a Irish penalty, another turnover because of a silly Welsh mistake. And then that second attempt, there was just sort of like indecisive play between Adam Beard and Alex Mann from Nick Tompkins. Nick Tompkins at 12 wasn't fully sure of what to do throughout that first half, it seemed. And it wasn't really his fault. Wales weren't getting enough front ball. They didn't have enough possession. But half-time, 17-0. What are Wales going to do here? And my sort of review of the first half at this point was that they are clearly, and let me know if you agree here, and I do apologize, this is a long video, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Wales are missing those physical ball carriers, and we do have them. I know we do have them, right? Dewi Lake, Jack Morgan, even though he's not massive, he is a physical ball carrier, right? We are missing sort of those players to get us over the gain line. From really, in my opinion, from 1 to 8, you need physical ball carriers, and we have them, but sometimes they're not physical enough, or it's not consistent enough. The ball speed is not fast enough to, you're getting a ball at standstill. What can you do? If you obviously you can't build up speed, you can't break the gain line. It's very difficult at a standstill. And just a lack of possession was just killed Wales really in that first half. Personally, I sort of made a thought, and I was reviewing some sort of articles throughout. So let me know if you agree with this as well, right? But I personally would like to see maybe George North switch to 12, and there's nothing against Tompkins. I think Tompkins is fantastic. Look, I bought a Saracens jersey, not this one obviously, this is a Welsh jersey, but I bought a Saracens jersey in homage to Nick Tompkins and his performance at the World Cup. Right, so he is a good inside centre. However, he is not a physical ball-carrying 12 inside centre. Yes, he can in certain situations. He is quite physical. He's got some dog in him as well, which I absolutely appreciate and love. But he hasn't got that physicality. He's not George North. He's not 6'4". He's not like 240, 250 pounds, right? So I'm thinking maybe, up against France, do we move maybe George North into 12? Do we bring in Mason Grady to 12? Have George North at 13? Or alternate, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, second half, it was a good first few minutes for Wales, lots of pressure, which does lead to a Welsh line out, which does lead to a penalty try and a yellow card. And the reason being is that it does look like it was pulled down, cynical really, by Todd Byrne. And then sort of what you go down to 14 men, right? As an international team, you really should be dominating at that point. You should get the possession. You should be absolutely have an overlap. You have a one-man overlap all the time, right? But Wales are static in possession. They didn't really look like they knew what they were doing, and there was not really any direct running. It was kind of indecisive. And I've got a note here, and I said George North is strong. Right, so he was clearly doing some damage once he did get the ball, but it was kind of a little bit too late. He's strong, but he really should be playing 12. He should be getting first phase ball, getting over the gain line, and getting quick ball out to our next sort of phase. But we're not doing that. It's slow, it's static, and there's not really any sort of oomph, unfortunately. The Welsh attack gets repelled. To be fair to Ireland, their defence was absolutely incredible. Simon Easterby is doing a hell of a job for them defensively, right? Because it's almost simple. It's almost simple. You're one up running. There's indecisiveness. So of course, you know exactly what's coming next. There's no sort of mirage. There's no sort of magic. It's just one up, and you can defend that all day long. Anybody can, really. It's not hard. Two not very long lineouts. struggling with distance. Yeah, so basically what I'm referring to there, I made short notes, is that there was a couple instances where it was a Welsh penalty and we were kicking for touch, but and I said this when Ioan Lloyd sort of came on for, was it at the end of in the second half for Scotland, or was it just during the England game? There wasn't really much distance on the penalty kick to touch, which was sort of annoying because we weren't then sort of getting into their half and we weren't able to then create any more pressure. And yeah, pretty brutal. We do get to their to the Irish line. Naturally, you should when you're up a man. But again, Ireland turn it over. The Welsh attack is too flat. There's no secondary dimension. What do I mean by that? There's no sort of second level. There's no out-the-back passing. There's no sort of interplaying between the pods or the forwards. And it was just easy to read with one-up runners. And then eventually, I'm not going to show you this because I didn't have this on video, but basically this was at the 58th minute mark, right? Ireland are in the Welsh 22. I think it was James Lowe breaks through, passes it to Bundyaki. No, it's James Lowe and he passes it, he offloads it to Jamison Gibson Park. From up top of the Aviva Stadium, everybody and their Welsh, whoever was Welsh in that stadium, stood up and screamed at that very moment in time that pass was forward. I could see it from up top. And watching it on TV, you could see it as well. It was outrageously forward, and eventually it does get called back. I've made another note here. Winnett, fantastic under the high ball. He is an outstanding fullback. He is so confident. It's like he's been playing international rugby all his life, but he's only played 20 professional games total. That's for Wales and the Cardiff Blues. Well, it's not the Blues anymore, but for Cardiff Rugby. Outstanding player at 15. He has been the find of the tournament, right? And in a way, you're glad that these players are getting the opportunity because they might not if Liam Williams, and like Lee Halfpenny is still there. They're not seeing the light of day. Cam Winnett's not going to be playing until the summer. But here we are. He is absolutely bossing it from the back, and he's fantastic under the high ball. And so right now we're up to the 66 minute mark. It is still 17 points to 7, right? And you just, like, watching it live, you're thinking Wales need more attacking opportunity and possession to come back. But unfortunately, there's just too much pressure on the Irish line, from the Irish on the Welsh line, and it leads to that third try. Frawley getting the try, and he just slices between Winnett and Dyer, and then it's 24 points to 7, and you're kind of thinking, it's been 66 minutes, 16 minutes of the second half, that's not right, 26 minutes of the second half, and it's still 17 points to 7. Wales do have an opportunity to come back. Like I said, scoreline could have been different if they saw that Aaron Wainwright try earlier on in the game, but obviously not. If Wales were capitalising on the yellow card, maybe things could be different again, and then that scoreline does look slightly different. But then, Ireland scored a try, 24 points to 7. Unfortunately, scoreboard starts to look a little bit more uglier than it actually is. But, it is what it is. Ireland are capitalising on their opportunities. As soon as they get into the 22, they're coming away with something. Wales aren't. That is the big difference here, unfortunately. On the 75th minute, there was a Welsh try. And I think this is what I'm referring to here. I think this is the Aaron Wainwright that I'm on about, but I think it happened earlier on as well. But anyway, on the 75th minute, Wales are on the line, and I personally see it as a Welsh try, but the ref calls it short. Outrage, as it was clear and obviously on the line, leads to an Irish yellow card at some point, and Aaron Wainwright is held up again. And I do believe that is what I'm referring to, so I do apologise. Again, like, I'm a little bit jet lagged. This week has been absolutely mental, just to tell you, to be honest. And then, as we know, in the 81st minute, Tardburn at the end scores a try and gets the Irish bonus point, and Ireland come away with the win 31 points to 7. And like I said, that scoreline does not reflect truly sort of the state of play. In my opinion, I do think that Wales gave more of themselves than they did against England. But at this point, you are 3 from 3 and you've lost all three games. Ireland are sitting comfortably on top with 3 full bonus points games. And they're looking comfortable to win the Grand Slam. And obviously coming up, Wales have France, which France narrowly almost lost to Italy, but it was a draw. Crazy ending to that game. Garbisi should have been able to get that penalty again, but it didn't. So yeah, just a mad sort of couple of, a week coming up really. We have the URC getting back underway this weekend. Obviously, the Ospreys are playing, is it Edinburgh? Glasgow. They're playing someone. They're playing someone on St. David's Day. And then we have obviously all the other Welsh teams in action against the Irish counterparts, which will be fun. And I think it is actually Ospreys Munster, but I could be wrong. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, what an incredible experience that I had to get to go to Dublin. I do apologise that this video is late coming out. Like I said, I wanted to do it almost immediately after watching the game in Dublin. But like I said, I was enjoying myself. And I wanted to make sure that I had everything sort of capsulated and on point. I am going to be doing a sort of team that I think needs to sort of happen to go against France, because at this point we've tested out a few people in their primary positions, and I do think it's time to give someone else a shot. I'm not going to say anything yet. I'll make a video on that soon. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I do apologize that this one is a long one. It was a little bit, overdue. But like I said, there was a very good rationale and reason behind that. So if you made it this far, Diolch and Fawr, thank you very much. I understand it's a long one, and I will try and keep them shorter and sweeter. But I wanted to make sure you had a backstory as to why this video is a little bit late coming out, and sort of what happened last week as well. Because I had every intent to upload a video, upload a podcast episode whilst I was in Dublin. But like I said, I was just enjoying the experience, because it was really once in a lifetime opportunity. How many opportunities am I going to be able to get whilst living here in America to go and fly to Dublin to watch Wales play in the Six Nations? Not that often. So anyway, this is the Chip Over the Top Rugby Podcast. My name is Ryan. Happy St. David's Day. Diolch and Fawr. I will catch you very, very soon. And if you are new here, you know what to do. All the good stuff. Thumbs up, subscribe for more. Peace.